The stick shaker indicates to pilots that if the airplane gets any slower, it's going to be in a stall condition.
Are they going too fast or too slow? The pilots must decide which alarm to react to.
We're stalling.
The captain decides to increase the speed by pitching the nose down, silencing the stall warning. But they're not out of danger yet. With conflicting warnings and no reliable airspeed or altitude readings, the pilots of Flight 603 urgently need help.
Is there any plane that can take off to rescue us?
Yes, we're coordinating immediately.
At this point, it was a totally out-of-the-box thought by the first officer to ask for this type of assistance, which would have given them a visual reference right next to them with altitude, airspeed, also communications, and we have somebody alongside of us holding our hand to the airport.
The plane is now 50 miles from Lima's airport.
Aeroperu 603, you are heading 270, 10,000 feet.
While they wait for a rescue plane, the captain attempts to join the approach path to the runway.
I'll try to intercept the ILS and then descend.
Lima, Aeroperu 603, we will try to intercept the ILS.
Roger, Aeroperu 603.
They think they're flying at a nice, safe altitude. And they think that they pretty much have airspeed under control. They probably thought they were in a pretty darn good position.
When the plane fell, was it in one piece?
Yes, it was.
Investigators found the airplane intact. There are no claims of responsibility by terrorists, so it pretty much ruled out that there was some type of nefarious means to bring the aircraft down.
Can you describe how the plane fell?
It was nose up and crashed near the threshold of runway 20.
The controller and other witnesses saw that the airplane was struggling to climb, had a nose-high pitch attitude, and then impact the ground.
Eyewitnesses recall that the plane struggled to gain enough lift to remain airborne, an indication it was in a stall. 1 week after the incident, Algerian investigators are joined by a member of the NTSB.
Air traffic controller and witnesses described seeing a stall, and one witness remarked that the landing gear was down.
If the landing gear is still down while the aircraft is trying to climb, it creates a lot of drag on that airplane. It takes a lot of thrust and a lot of power to maintain the climb to overcome all that drag from the landing gear.
That would affect a plane's ability to climb, but that alone wouldn't cause a stall.
There has to have been something else.
Do you have the load sheets?
Yes, right here.
One of the big questions is about the aircraft weight, because if you're too heavy, you won't climb as well as if you're within the weight envelope.
Investigators review the plane's load sheet to see if the plane was overweight before takeoff.
The plane crashes wing down. What that suggests to investigators is that the plane crashed out of control. You would never intend to have it be that way. You'd always try and level it out and crash as close to a regular attitude as you can.
Maybe the plane stalled.
You may be right. Check this out. It's gone viral.
A witness had filmed the plane during the final moments of the flight.
It appears that the left wing lost lift and dipped severely.
That's at least an 80-degree left bank.
Sure looks like a stall to me.
When you see evidence that looks like a stall, You immediately start questioning what could have led to that, and you go back to what's going on during that approach.
This is not an easy approach. They'd have to fly between the runway and the mountain and make 2 left turns before lining up with runway 12.
And this is where the plane crashed.
And just before the crash, they were beginning their final left turn.
Did the pilots bank too far during one of the turns and stall?
They would have had to go from 0 to an 80-degree bank in a few seconds.
Yeah.
It suggests there was a problem with the plane.
Investigators try to determine if the crew of Flight 1344 gave themselves enough space to stop.
Thank you. They found an image. From a closed-circuit camera located here.
Looks like they're still about 15 feet above the runway, and they're past the touchdown zone.
We could see clearly the aircraft floating, but unfortunately we couldn't see the exact touchdown point.
So that means they flew well past the touchdown area before putting the plane down.
That's right.
Why would the pilots land so far past the touchdown zone and risk the lives of everyone on board?
So was the metric confusion the reason why they'd pushed the plane into a nosedive?
How far did they tell us to climb?
As the flight reaches its assigned altitude of 4,500 feet or 1,500 meters,
1,500 feet, sir.
the first officer leads the captain to believe they should be much lower at 1,500 feet.
The captain, thinking that they have blown through their clearance, would be extremely alarmed because now there is a very strong potential for a traffic conflict.
I'm too high. Descend, descend, descend.
The quickest response is to push forward on the controls.
Wait. Just a moment.
The captain pushes the plane into a steep dive to descend to a much lower altitude.
You can hear the captain trim the plane down. He put them in the dive.
He pitches the aircraft nose down and simultaneously is trimming the horizontal stabilizer, which relieves the control column pressure. But the combination of these things put the aircraft into a dive for which it's almost impossible to recover.
During the descent, the first officer suddenly recognizes the seriousness of their situation.
Wait, pitch.
Okay.
But by the time the pilots realize the danger,
Nose up, nose up, nose up!
it's too late.